welcome back to my channel. Today I have another product I regret buying to share with you guys. I like to do these every once in a while. I kind of will save up some product. Most of these products I have already like decluttered from my collection, but they have been stored in my closet where I keep everything I declutter until I get a chance to visit my family and have them look through what they want. So a lot of this I've already decluttered, so you may have seen these in declutters. You may have heard me already talk about why I don't like them, but I did want to share with this video with you guys. I always enjoy watching these types of videos. I find them just as helpful as positive reviews, because when talking about cosmetics and talking about makeup, there are so many products out there, so many ways that we can invest our money, and I like knowing what products maybe I should avoid purchasing. So, of course, these are all my personal opinions. I know a lot of you might feel differently about these products. This video is just about my opinion on why I personally regret purchasing these products, but if you like them, that's great. I'm glad they worked for you. I'm not trying to bash any companies or anything like that. I'm just trying to share my opinion with you guys and let you know some things that did not work for me. So, let's go ahead and jump right into this. So I wanted to start with a couple non-makeup related beauty products. The first one is this giant bottle of shampoo here from Nioxin. This is the Scalp Recovery Shampoo. You guys probably have heard me talk a million times about the fact that I have scalp psoriasis and I have a very dry, itchy, flaky scalp. So I am always on the hunt for new shampoos that will help with that situation. This is a very pricey shampoo. I got it from Ulta. Wish I wouldn't have bought the giant size. I actually wish I didn't buy it at all, but I bought the biggest size possible here, the 1 liter. And I really disliked this. It smells really awful. It burned my scalp really bad. It does have zinc in here. I've learned that I need to avoid anything that has the zinc in there. That dandruff ingredient it really irritates my scalp. It does not actually help me to remove the dandruff. It just irritates and dries my scalp out. So I'm not sure why that ingredient is in everything that's supposed to be for anti-dandruff, but it does not help my situation. Maybe it's just because of my psoriasis. I'm not sure, but this for me was a total miss. And yeah, it's like this full, so I'm really bummed that I bought the giant size. So that was something I definitely regret purchasing. Next up, another product I've talked about a lot. This is the Garnier Skin Active Micellar Cleansing Water. This is the one with the blue cap, but I've also tried the one with the pink cap. Both of them were awful for me. The problem was they were removing my lashes. I was losing a lot of lashes when I used these, so I stopped using them once I realized that was happening to me, and I would not purchase these again. I know a lot of people absolutely love this product, but for me it was definitely a total miss, so this one is definitely going to be thrown away. I was just saving it so I could talk about it in this video. Okay, now let's get on to some makeup products. So first of all, this guy here. This is the Too Faced No Filter Selfie Palette. This I actually found at TJ Maxx, so I did not pay full price for it, thank goodness. I did pay, I think, $14.99 for it. It has 3 powders in here, and they're supposed to be translucent powders, but they don't really go on very translucently. They do leave a little bit of a cast on your skin, and I really just didn't get this palette. I tried using this as an eyeshadow, which it did not work because it wasn't enough pigmentation for an eyeshadow. I tried using it as a setting powder, which is what it's meant to be, and it did not work that way either. It just left a very strange color on my skin, depending on which one I used, obviously. Just in general, this was really bad. And I tried using the brown as like a bronzer. It did not work as that either. I just could not figure out how to get these powders to work for me. So overall, I was really disappointed, and I actually have already decluttered that from my collection as well. I also have some primers to talk about. This is the Smashbox Photo Finish Pore Minimizing Primer. So I had purchased a bunch of the Smashbox primers in travel size, and this is the last one I had in my collection. I tried it a few times, and I just really dislike the Smashbox primers. I know they're some of our top selling primers at Sephora, but they just do not work for me. And I've tried, oh man, I feel like I had 4 or 5 of the primers. I've definitely tried the original one. I've tried this one. I've tried the light one. What else have I tried? I can't even remember now. The green one, the green color correcting one. Just in general, these just don't work for me. It doesn't make my makeup last any longer. They just, I don't know. There's something about these primers that I just was not a fan of, so I definitely won't be purchasing any of these in the future. I also have this primer here from Benefit, the Porefessional. Now this is not a horrible product, but it's not my favorite product. So the reason I have already decluttered this, and the reason is because it definitely fills in your pores, but for me it does not extend the wear of my makeup. So I feel like that's the main reason I put on a primer, is I want it to extend the wear of my makeup, and it really just doesn't do anything like that. It just fills my pores in, and I feel like it's a step that's unnecessary for me because I don't feel like I have super large pores to begin with. So if I'm going to be using a pore filling primer, the main reason I'm using it is for extending the wear of my makeup, and I don't get that from this product. So this one was a miss too, and I really regret buying it. All right, next I have a blush, and this is from Wet n Wild from the Fergie collection. I actually found this at the dollar store, so I'm glad I didn't spend too much money on it, but I do still regret purchasing it. The actual formulation of the powder is not bad at all. It's actually very, very good. The problem is the color. It is just a very bubblegum bright pink, and it's just too much. Like, I just cannot pull that off at all. It's just so bright, and I definitely regret purchasing this. I feel like I should have known, looking at this color in the packaging, that this was definitely not going to work for my skin tone. So I do regret picking that guy up. I also have a little loose glitter here from Makeup Forever to talk about. So this is not a bad product. However, I have so many glitter pigments that are better than this, that this one I really do regret purchasing it. It was kind of expensive too. I feel like it was like $22. This is literally just glitter. I mean, there is nothing to this but loose glitter, and it just falls out everywhere. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it's literally just like if I went and bought some glitter from the craft store, that's what I feel like this is. There's nothing in there to hold it onto your eye at all, so you do have to use some sort of a tacky base like a glitter glue, or even the glitter glue I didn't feel like was enough to really keep this on. So yeah, I don't know. I wish I hadn't bought this particular one. I feel like it was kind of a waste of money because I never reach for it because it is such a difficult product to work with. I really, really prefer the formula of the Bodyography ones that's like more of like a pressed, that's a glitter pigment, but it has a tacky base, so it will actually stick to your eye. I don't get any fallout from that. It stays in place all day. And this one is just really difficult to work with, so I do regret picking that up. Okay, last but not least, I have some palettes to talk about. So let's start with this here. This is the BH Cosmetics Carly Bybel palette. Now, I have not decluttered this, or really any of the palettes I'm going to talk about in my collection, or from my collection, because this is not an awful palette, but I don't get the hype on this. This was really, really hyped up. That was the reason I purchased it. A lot of people were talking about how amazing, especially the highlights were, and they're okay, but they're super powdery, and the eyeshadows in particular do not wear long at all. I feel like they start to get muddy and dusty on my eye really quickly, and just in general, I was not blown away by this palette. I have had other BH Cosmetics palettes, and I feel like this formula is very consistent with what they do, and a lot of people were saying that this was amazing and great quality, and I'm like, it's a BH Cosmetics palette. It seems like exactly like all of their other formulations of eyeshadows to me, and I wasn't blown away. Now, the color selection in here is fantastic. I do love all the colors in here. I just don't feel like the wear on my eye, I don't feel like they wear that great. So overall, I really regret purchasing this. I'm glad it's an affordable palette, so I did not spend a lot of money on it, but I still feel like I could have spent my money a little bit more wisely than this. Another drugstore or affordable palette that I kind of wish I hadn't picked up is from Wet n Wild. This is the Au Naturel palette. So I really do love the formula of the Wet n Wild eyeshadows. They're some of my favorite formula for drugstore eyeshadows, but I like the ones that come in the pan where it will say like crease or whatever stamped in the actual shadow, like the 8-pan palettes, and then they have some trios as well. Those are fantastic quality, but the eyeshadow quality in this is very different from those. These are very, very powdery. The pigmentation is just not as good as those palettes. It's okay. It's yeah, it's okay. For a drugstore palette, it's okay, but it does get muddy. The mattes are no good. The shimmers are but in general, I wish I would have not picked this up. I think it was only like $5.99 or something, so it was very affordable. But if you want to pick up a good drugstore palette, go with some of their 8-pound palettes. They're way better quality. All right, and then the last product, the last item that I wanted to mention is this here. Now, I know a lot of people love this palette, so I'm anticipating to get a lot of comments about this down below, but this is the Tartist Pro palette. The thing about this palette, Tarte eyeshadows in general, I find, the mattes are very difficult to work with for me. I feel like their pigmentation gets really muddy really quickly. So I have a hard time really blending these together because they either A, blend completely away or get really muddy, or they're just, the lighter shades aren't as pigmented, so they just don't show up that great. I'm sorry, it's so reflective, it's hard to get you guys a good angle on it. These shadows here are very great, but there's only 4 of those in the palette. The majority of this palette is the matte shades, which is this section here. And they're not awful, but for how much money this is $59. I feel like I definitely regret purchasing this because I know I'm not gonna get the same use out of this palette as a lot of my other high-end palettes that I love and reach for consistently. This is one that I'm kind of like, when I have it in my everyday makeup drawer, I tend to not reach for it because it's just a little bit more difficult to work with. I feel like my end result on my eyeshadow looks when I've used this, I'm always just not that pleased with. And for the amount of work that it takes to get your eyeshadows on with this thing, I feel like save your money, invest it in a different palette because this is just really not worth purchasing. So I was really disappointed though because a lot of people loved this and I was really hoping maybe the formula was better on this palette than some of the other Tarte palettes I've tried in the past, but there's something about the Tarte formula that just does not work for me, especially their mattes. Their shimmers are good, but they're not like, they don't blow me away, but they're good, but the mattes are just really difficult to work with. So I do regret purchasing this guy as well. I am gonna hang on to it because it was $59, first of all, but these shades are actually pretty decent, and I find that if I just apply one of these on my lid and use one of the mattes to kind of blend it out, that I get a decent look, or I'll even reach for a different palette to use for like deepening up or something, because yeah, I don't know. Something about this is just not working for me. All right, you guys, those are all the products I wanted to share with you today in this products I regret buying video. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this. If you have questions or comments for me, leave those down below. I'd be happy to answer those. And if you're not already subscribed to my channel, please do subscribe. It means absolutely so much to me. And I hope you guys have a fantastic day. I'll see you in my next video. Bye, you guys.